go ahead and kind of briefly summarize the events of the weekend, starting from when you got dropped off, and tell us where you got dropped off and everything, and like just kind of tell us where you went, did you eat, where'd you sleep, who all did you interact with, that kind of stuff. Go.
Well, we got dropped off downtown, pretty much just walked around, looked for a place to sleep for like 2 or 3 hours, because we didn't feel comfortable sleeping under a bridge or like in an alleyway, but we found a spot outside the Civic Center in some bushes, and we laid out the American Classifieds because they were free. We had got like 8 of them, and we laid them in the bushes like underneath in this little clear spot, and we made our beds there, slept until like 2 o'clock, and it got really cold, and we just pretty much just lied there being cold for like 2 hours.
And it got so cold that we actually, because we were barefoot, we stuffed some of the American Classifieds into our backpacks.
Yeah.
And put our feet in our backpacks. We walked from 4:30 in the morning from downtown by the Civic Center down Treadway, and then we hit a gas station. We hit a 7-Eleven about 7:30, and we got a Slurpee with the $1.50 that we brought with us for payphone change.
Best freaking slushy ever.
Yeah. Well, before this we prayed and we were like, God, give us some guidance and keep us safe, and if you can, give us some food.
Yeah.
And we were sitting in front of 7-Eleven. This lady comes out and goes, "Hey, are y'all alright?" Because and we were like, "Yes, ma'am, we're students at ACU. We're just doing an experiment for homelessness and stuff like that." And she was like, "Oh, because we thought you were homeless." Like, legitimately. And
Yes.
we were like,
pulled it off.
and then she was like, "Do y'all need any like food, like any chips or something?" And we just felt bad, so we were like, "No, we're all right." And she left, and we were like, "Dang." That was our shot. Ended up pulling into this Sonic, where we
Slept on the beach volleyball court.
we just
Passed out on that sand. It felt so good on our feet.
And then we asked some kids for some money from the local high school, and they gave us like $2.56, and we were so grateful. I've never been so grateful for so little money in my entire life. And we walked up to Whataburger and found out that you can't get anything with $2.96.
Not a Whataburger.
No. So we walked back, panhandled $2 more, and went to Chicken Express, where we walked in and the people saw us without our shoes on, all dirty,
with sand
everywhere,
everywhere.
Backpacks
We
on.
looked so gross.
And we walked in and she was like, "Oh, hey boys, like, do you guys want the student special? It's $6 for all this food." And we were like, "We only have $5.96. She's like, "I have 4 pennies, it's fine." So she goes and starts to make our food, and we find out that we only have $4.96.
Okay.
And we're like, "We're so sorry, but this is all the money that we have." And she's like, "That's alright, I have $1. And she just pulled $1 out of her pocket and put it in the cash register for us. And it was so nice, and we enjoyed a very good Chicken Express meal.
It was awesome.
Basically, what I'm gathering is that the people were generally nice to you, generous and everything.
Well, the interesting thing, you wanna?
Oh, I was gonna just say, yeah, the funny thing about that was it wasn't, the people who had a lot of money who were nice to us. It was a bunch of the people, the poor people were really nice to us and offering us money and food and rides and stuff. It wasn't like the people who had money to give.
Yeah, it was the working class people. It was the people that do work in the warehouses of the Abilene newspaper, and the people that work in the 7-Elevens. The people that weren't really in the position to give money, and then the people that were in the position to give money ignored us. Didn't even acknowledge our existence, much less like help us. I think there's a sense of association. I mean, those people see that we're kids and that we're struggling, and they themselves may not be struggling on the same level that we are, but they're having trouble having ends meet to pay for their houses and stuff. They know what it's like, and I think for some reason they find it in them to do the, to give to your brother when you have the capability to give to him. And it was a lot of the people that had the capability to give to us that didn't give to us, and the people that didn't have that much to give that gave as much as they could.
They'd look at us and they'd just look away real quick and just keep on walking by as if they didn't see anything.
Do you think that the experience was any less legitimate to you in your mind by the fact, like just thinking about like the fact that you are about to sleep in a bed in a dorm and you're waiting, you have like, 15 meals or whatever waiting on you this week. Was that like brought up in your mind? Like, do you think that like delegitimized the experience at all? Or I mean,
honestly, like I wasn't thinking about this week.
Yeah,
I was thinking about that day, like going
Yeah.
like, I'm so freaking hungry.
Yeah.
I want something to eat today really bad.
Yeah, we were really thinking in the moment, like, what am I gonna eat now? Where am I gonna sleep tonight? Stuff like that. I mean, I imagine when I got back to the dorm, I said, wow, I'm really lucky that like I was able to come back to this, because there's people that'll live their whole lives like this because they don't have anything, and we had the opportunity to come back. So maybe it did like delegitimize it a little bit. I guess that's the word.
That's what we're using.
Maybe. But like the thing is that when you're in that mindset where you're starving and you're hungry and you have no sense of time or direction, you're really thinking survival mode. You're not thinking long term. You're thinking, what can I do in order to get the food for today? You know?
Yeah.
We were even thinking about like, we were just like, well, we just won't eat this weekend. And we woke up and that morning we were just like, I'm hungry, let's go get something. We weren't thinking about like, well, I mean, we might as well fast because we do have 15 meals next week.
Right.
We could have fasted and been just fine. But it was just like, we woke up and we didn't even like sense like that real hunger.
Yeah, we
were just like, I haven't eaten like I normally do.
Yeah.
So imagine the people that go like 3 days without it.
Yeah.
We met a guy named Ernest at the 7-Eleven station, and he pushes around his own push lawnmower, and he mows people's lawns. And he said he'd been walking around for 3 days without getting any work.
Yeah, he just knocks on people's doors and offers to mow their lawns.
Like he probably hasn't eaten much.
Right.
And like we were just hungry. That's it. Like it's not like we were starving. We were just uncomfortable.
Yeah, like our stomach was kind of growling, and we were like, let's go get something to eat.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like you guys came away with a lot. Just kind of final comments, general perspectives that you took away from this weekend, things that you learned that you might have thought about before, but really not known until you put yourself in the position of a homeless person. What have you brought away from the weekend?
My main thing this weekend was really thankful for my family, my mom and dad. Like, yeah, I've never had to worry about what am I going to eat today, or where am I going to eat it, or where am I going to sleep, or I've never felt in danger while I was sleeping. Like all that night, Dylan and I, if we heard one noise, we were up and we were like in a battle stance, ready to fight off somebody. You know what I mean? Like, I've never had to deal with that. Never. Ever. And so like for me, for one, it was just being thankful for my mom and dad providing as much as they have. And the second thing was that like the only thing that makes like a homeless person really is that they don't have a home. Most of these people have jobs and they make money, they're hard, they work hard, but they just don't have a home, I mean, everybody that we met this weekend were perfectly normal people, functional, but like they didn't have enough money to get an apartment.
Right.
That was one thing that was interesting to me, is that, I mean, they're just as hard workers as anyone I've ever met.
When people are out there panhandling, like, we always assume, they're just going to spend it on alcohol or drugs or something, but honestly, how much you can't buy alcohol we made $6 on Saturday, and we felt really lucky to make $6. Like, we were really helped out. I mean, imagine somebody that doesn't make $6. They're not gonna buy alcohol with like $3. They're gonna buy food.
Right.
The last thing we were thinking about was buying alcohol. Maybe that's because we go to a Christian college, but I mean, if I was starving,
Yeah, your stomach was thinking
Yeah.
before you. Yeah.
you know, you want that food. You don't want,
Right.
you know, the stuff that we assume that people are just like collecting on welfare checks and then panhandling on the side. No, that doesn't happen. Or maybe it does, but not on the scale that we think it does. Most of these people are legitimately hungry.
I've been struggling with addiction myself,
Mhm.
with cigarettes, and I mean, I'm off because of this weekend, because I wasn't even thinking about getting cigarettes after like I was a little hungry.
Right.
Just like a little hungry. I wasn't even starving, and I mean, we had $6. It didn't even cross my mind to go buy a pack, you know, like
Yeah.
drugs, and that's not what people panhandle for.
So easy to get into that thinking of, I guess judgment would be the word for it. Just thinking about like why that person would be on the street, as opposed to, no, this doesn't matter why this person's on the street. This
Mhm.
person is hungry. So.
Well, I definitely feel like God helped us a lot this weekend, because He could have just made us starve and made us not eat. He could have just made those people go, those kids are weird, and given us money. But he provided for us, which was great. And then another thing that He did was He kind of slapped us in the face and said, this is what's going on. Like, these are the people that you forget about when we worry about our petty things like our iPhones or even our next meal.
Mhm.
It's petty compared to how much we ignore these people. And it was just kind of God showing me that it's important to tell people about this. It's important to live like in another person's shoes. Like, even if it's not for the homeless, like even if it's in another country, living in another person's shoes, or even another lifestyle, it's important to, you have to live in their shoes before you can really empathize with them. Because we can go to soup kitchens all we want,
Yeah.
but we're not going to feel the same as if we do go out and we do get in touch with them. If we do what the Shane Claibornes are doing, and what the John Perkinses are doing, if we do go and live with these people and go and do that, because that's how we're really going to develop our own personal opinions, our own personal attachments to them.
Yeah.